migration. It is not just my job. It is my conviction. And this conviction did not come to me from a classroom or a report or any professional decision. It came to me from a moment in my life when I was 22 years old, alone in Australia. That moment changed the course of my life, not because of what was taken away, but because of what migration made possible. That incident occurred on a beautiful summer afternoon in Australia. Under the clear blue sky and bright sunshine, two people collided. A man of 19 and a woman of 22. Both strangers, both students. But they didn't just collide. The man came with a knife and he stabbed the woman 6 times, leaving her for dead. Fast forward several years, and here I am standing in front of you today. And however unbelievable it may sound, that is a moment in my life that I am grateful for. Don't get me wrong. Assault is deeply traumatic, and I would never wish it on anyone. I spent 10 years of my life sleeping with my lights on. I broke down innumerable times. Yet, if I had to choose my life again, this is one chapter I would not erase. Migration doesn't change where we live. It changes who we become. That time did not just change me. It gave me a whole new lens. Migration transforms people and their relationships within themselves, with others, and with the world. And all of this happened to me. You know, this could have happened anywhere, and it could have happened to anyone. But it happened to me within weeks of my arrival in Australia. I was in a completely new environment amongst strangers. And that is what made the experience just that much more special. Because being a migrant brought a whole level of intensity to what had happened. Looking back, 2 things became very clear to me. First, what I learned about myself. Second, what I learned about others. And together they taught me something larger about migration itself. Because migration is so transformative, it is a process whereby your safety nets don't stay. And in that nakedness, you find and discover a new strength and a new sense of belonging. As we grow from childhood to adulthood, we are shaped by a version of ourselves. This version is molded by our family, our friends, and the people around us. Migration disrupts that. In a new place, old rules no longer hold. Judgments, especially our own, can be rewritten. This is not because migration is easy. It is because it removes us from who we are expected to be. That distance creates a space. And in that space, you don't just grow, you are reborn. I was only a few months into my new life in Australia when this happened. I had no safety nets, no history there. And after the attack, no physical strength. I could not even close the buttons of my shirt on my own. I had nothing, so I had to ask for everything. People reached out in ways that I had not expected. They combed my hair, carried my bag, walked me to class, and stayed when there was nothing to fix. That is when I realized the power of migration for the second time, not as an abstract concept, but as lived human connections. People didn't know me, I didn't know them. Yet, when I reached out to them with genuine brokenness, they didn't just look at me, they reached back. If I had been at home with my family and friends, would things have been different for me? I believe yes. If I had been home, I could have hidden behind my family. But there I was, alone. I remember having to walk in the dark to lock the house because I was a tutor. I remember listening to others' sorrows while carrying my own. I just had to go on. I was forced to be brave. I was forced to be visible. Would I have reached out to ask for help from others? And would others have helped me if I was not alone? I am not sure. But my greatest lesson in human connection came from a nurse whose name I never knew. I was in hospital on oxygen support when my parents were arriving. The nurse prepared me. She told me, gently but firmly, "Young lady, you have been very brave so far, but your parents will be very worried about you, and I need you to do something for them." She said that she was going to wheel my bed to the room where my parents would be waiting for me. Before entering the room, she was going to pull off my oxygen mask. Then she said, "I must smile and say I am okay." She promised she would bring me out immediately after that and put my oxygen mask right back on. It was only a matter of a minute, she said. That minute mattered. In my most powerless moment, she gave me something to hold on to. Dignity, strength, and a reminder that human relationships matter, even in crisis. If I had not been in Australia, and visas and tickets had not taken my parents so long to arrive, they would have met me when I could not speak, could not breathe without oxygen. And I would not have had the chance to rise for 1 minute. But there is a danger in such kindness. I started to see myself only as someone who was broken. I sought the attention of others. One day, I walked to the school for disabled children where I used to volunteer, only to hand in my resignation. I thought, what can I do for them now? I am just as fragile as they are. There, an 8-year-old girl, struggling with her own challenges, recognized me and ran towards me. She stumbled and instinctively grabbed my arm. She leaned her entire weight on me. In that moment, I realized that even with my injuries, even with my trauma, I still had some strength. I could still be a pillar for somebody else. That was the first time after the attack that I did not feel like a victim. I felt strong. I felt useful, as if I belonged there. We often talk of migration in terms of them and us, and reduce it to numbers and monies and economies. But migration really is about the transformation that happens within people and between people. This story began with two people colliding. But migrants don't just collide or cross paths with us. They connect us. They create belonging where none existed. At its core, migration is one of the bravest acts that any individual will ever undertake. It is an act of belief in oneself and in human connection. And whether we migrate or not, each one of us has a role in shaping what migration feels like. Some of you will pack your lives into a suitcase and cross borders. And when you do, I have no doubt you will change not just yourselves, but also the world. But tomorrow, if you never migrate, you will come across someone who has. The question then is not whether they will shape your world, because they will. The question is, who will you be in their story? Thank you.